Carlos Corberán is with us. Carlos, a disappointing day. How would you explain what went wrong today?
I think sometimes the worst answer that I can give you is that it's very simple to give the explanation. They were better individually and collective better than us.
Which is hard for you to say, I know, and not something that you planned for. Tell us about the game plan to try and deal with Bournemouth in the first place.
I think something that was positive and negative at the same time is that in the first 50 minutes we were feeling that we could recover balls in offensive half, and they were a little bit uncomfortable and insecurity in the first passes. This fact gave us the feeling that we could be very aggressive with Bournemouth, and when you are very aggressive means that you are going to defend with more open spaces, and it's one thing that were very dangerous in the open spaces because they have players that individually they can make a difference, and they made it very difficult that you win the chance with them. And I think the game was well until they scored the goal. As soon as they scored the goal, you start to have one complicated situation to manage because you want to press more to recover more balls and try to go for the game. But if you don't arrive on time, they are going to beat you and they are going to have clear and big chances. And I think this is a summary of the first half. Moments when the team wanted to press the ball high and be aggressive, and they were breaking the press with the double pass, with the pass to the striker, turning or find Lerma the switch of play and make us running and make us defending in a big spaces. And when you play with big players, the more compact you are, the better you can defend, the more open you are, the more individual difference they can make. But like I told you, when you are playing at home and you want to go for the game, sometimes you are taking this type of risk. In the second half, we tried to don't press as aggressive, even being 2-0. The first time that we pressed, they scored the goal. So we have to try to don't press too much to be more compact and wait until the moment the ball was in the last line and we were compact to make difficult their attack. But in the first action, we did the opposite and we press. They break the press and they make it impossible to change the dynamic of the result. And after the frustration appeared and the fatigue appeared and give us the feeling that it was impossible to change the result.
Thank you for the explanation as usual. One thing that is of concern, nevertheless, Carlos, is that phase of the first half and a tendency in the first half to pass from deep, to pass short, the keeper, defenders, and a combination of maybe passes not being good enough and the press of the opponent was making it too easy for them to have attacks suddenly in your defensive third of the half. Is that something you could have stopped or didn't want to stop, or were the players not doing what you wanted? Just explain to us how the team and you, in turn as a management team, were dealing with that difficulty that your team was obviously having.
I think in football, sometimes you cannot separate the defense from the attack. I think the feeling that we had in the first half is true that in many moments we were losing simple balls. In football, every time you lose simple balls are counter-attacks for the opponent teams. This is not just for us. So it's important to keep the concentration in the basics, in the simple things. And for me, the more clear disadvantage was not the losing of the ball in our pitch, was that we didn't progress. I don't think when we were playing long, we didn't progress. The ball, they were winning second balls in attack. When we tried to play short, we didn't progress. So it means that attack didn't work enough well. And of course, we need to try to find solutions. We are one team that, if you analyze the season, we are stronger defending more than attacking. And that's why for me we have less possession sometimes than the opponents. During this season, we are not having many times more percentage of opponents higher than or more percentage of the ball higher than the opponents. Then today, for me, the key of how I see the difference of the game was not the fact that we couldn't attack. That was clear that we couldn't, but this happens sometimes. Was for me the fact that in the moments that we are competitive, we are strong, that is in defense, we couldn't with the challenges, and they were find one advantage contest to play the game that is big spaces with a lot of 1 versus 1 situations to make the difference.
Do you think, and forgive me for persisting on this subject, but do you think your team were too stubborn, continued too much with that policy of passing short from the back? Because it seemed to make it more and more easy for Bournemouth to take control of the game as a whole, the longer that tendency continued.
I think in some moments we didn't interpret well the game, because at the beginning of the game we were losing some balls, making passes to players that will receive the ball and at the same time the press. That's why we try to change the idea and to use more the spaces in behind. But after is the analysis of the situation with the players in the pitch, that today is true that maybe the balance between to play long and to play short was not the right thing. But at the same time, even when we play long, we didn't win the challenge. When we play short, we didn't keep the ball.
Do you think emotionally the team dealt with the situation in the right way? Do you think they gave up too early? Did you see a lack of aggression at 2-0 down? Would you have liked more from your team even at 3-0 down?
I think it's very difficult to say this, because for me, you don't believe in the running that you do when you are watching that every time you press, they are beating you the press, because you don't arrive on time, or because when you arrive on time, they're dribbling you, they make the one to pass, or they make one challenge and they win you. So if you are watching that you are not winning the situation, you are going to go less. So it's something that is normal from the human point of view, but it's true that we need to take the responsibilities to, when we press, to press better, and if not, don't press, because as soon as we don't press in the right moment, the situation is to be advantage is in disadvantage for us.
How disappointed are you in your team that they failed against Bournemouth today? I'm talking about in terms of the quality of the opponent, but also the size of the day. You told us, Carlos, how excited you were about the bigger crowd, the occasion that had been built by the club. Does it count as a failure, a bad failure by the club as a whole today?
I don't think so. I think one thing is to be excited to play the big games. Another thing is that when you are in the game, the opponent was better than you. I think today Bournemouth was better than us. I think the other day, in many moments, Millwall was better than us. And we need to analyze why and to find a solution. This is our work. So I understand that, of course, it's a pity. Of course, we were looking forward to play that game, especially after one defeat like we conceded against Millwall. But I know how difficult is the challenge if I am not honest with this type, knowing that Bournemouth will be a very complicated game. I am not honest with myself or with the players. It means that for me, we have our strengths, Bournemouth have their strengths, we have our possibilities, and today the strength of Bournemouth was better than the strength of Huddersfield.
You have a near 2-week break now. How confident are you that you can remotivate the team, find solutions like the ones you're talking about ahead of the remaining games, which will be the difference between finishing in the playoffs and not?
I don't think I have to motivate the players, because if you are one coach that you have to motivate the players, it will be impossible to achieve anything. I think these players are not self-motivated, and what is necessary now is to stop and to, like you say, to analyze how we can be more competitive team, recover well, because for me the season is being demanding for us, and now is a moment to stop, to recover, to analyze, and to continue growing, and to continue working. That's all.
Thank you, Carlos.